Hi, I'm Amy Remensnyder, and I'm Giancarlo Family Provost Professor of History here at Brown. The project I'm working on at the Kogut is a book that asks big questions by focusing on a tiny island. It is then what we historians call a microhistory, small in scope, but large in meaning. The island is Lampedusa, a 20.2 square kilometer slab of limestone that slants up in the central Mediterranean. Today is a famed symbol and epicenter of Europe's so-called refugee crisis. And that's because Lampedusa lies close to Tunisia, but is now Italian territory. Since the 1990s, approximately 500,000 undocumented people have endured nightmare passages in smugglers' boats to reach this scrap of the EU. Lots of scholars have written about this contemporary situation on Lampedusa. I'm interested instead in a much earlier era of saltwater human trafficking. Then as now, Lampedusa was a hinge between Europe and Africa and occupied an exceptional and outsized place in what I think of as a maritime geography of need created by mobile people. This era was the so-called golden age of early modern Mediterranean piracy, which is from about 1550 to 1750. In this period, hundreds of thousands of people on all shores of this sea lost their liberty to Muslim and Christian pirates. And I want to emphasize that we have to think of these pirates not as appealing, swashbuckling rogues of today's popular culture, but they were instead slavers. Scholars have shown how piracy stamped the early modern Mediterranean world in many ways. It generated economic networks, it influenced politics, it fostered new legal formulations, and it forced transfers of people and knowledge. My book ventures instead into the far less charted waters of the mutually constitutive relationship among piracy, slavery, and the Mediterranean's maritime environment. It is then a contribution to the emerging blue history of the Mediterranean, that is, the environmental history of this sea as a sea. Lampedusa was a deserted island in the golden age of piracy. It was inhabited only by rabbits, turtles, and the occasional ghost. That's because it was located in a major corridor of pirate activity and was therefore just too dangerous a place for humans to live. But it was useful to pirates themselves. On their hunting expeditions, they stopped there to cut wood, get water, and also visit a cave that set this island apart from all others in the Mediterranean. Stories about what happened there passed into maritime lore and fascinated writers not just in North Africa, Malta, and Sicily, but also in Northern Europe. This cave that lay at the heart of Lampedusa's reputation housed a sacred shrine shared by Muslim and Christian seafarers, free and unfree. It was unlike any of the Mediterranean's other multi-faith religious sites. In the cave, in front of the tomb of a Muslim holy man and an image of the Virgin Mary, pirates engaged in idiosyncratic rituals born of their own needs. They made offerings not just of the normal things you offer to saints, that is candles and coins, but also food, men's clothing, nautical supplies, and tools. This was a sacred stockpile protected by taboos and intended to aid fugitive slaves and seafarers in trouble. Several chapters of my book explore how Lampedusa's shrine was the product of exceptional, practical maritime cooperation between European and North African pirates, a cooperation that cut across religious lines and political enmities and expressed solidarities between these men, as well as what I call their rough compassion for fugitive slaves. As I explained, pirates did not negotiate these mutual interests face to face. The cave and the deserted island were the go-betweens, silently mediating relationships of need precipitated by the surrounding leagues of sea. As the rest of my book shows, the cave shrine was just one of the ways that Lampedusa's natural attributes worked together with the needs of captors and captives alike to benefit both these humans and the island itself, and to create an exceptional shared green oasis edged with violence. My book, which I am writing while here at the Kogut, thus shows that deserted islands are not just sites of fantasy, but also active presences in history.